Good afternoon. Hello, this is Lemurian Donna, and I'm really happy to be with you here today, and I appreciate you watching. So this morning, as I was thinking about who to channel or what to talk about today, I realized that I never really covered the basics on my channel. The basics being, why are we here? Why are you here? Why have you taken on a human life? Why are you incarnated? And what is the point of a human existence? So I want to talk a little bit about that today, and this is coming from my background. I've meditated 25 years with a group called Heartfulness. It's an Indian-based meditation group, and there's a master in India, and basically this meditation practice is found throughout the world, and it's very, very popular. It's also free. But I've learned a lot from 25 years of meditation, but I'm just going to try and break it down in a nutshell. Most people are on Earth not because they want to be, but because they have to be. In other words, their soul came here maybe thousands and thousands of years ago to experience Earth, to figure out what it was all about. Of course, there's many different civilizations and cultures and many different societies all over the multiverse in this galaxy and others. But souls came to Earth to experience Earth. It's a very unique planet. There's many different types of beings here, and it was established as a repository for genetic information. So many ETs have come here all throughout the ages. But what happened is when people, or when spirits, perhaps they were in their light bodies, came down to this place, and at that point it had descended into the third dimension. Hi, Marie. Nice to see you. By that point, it had descended into the third dimension. What happened is that souls got caught here karmically. So when a soul incarnates on a planet such as Earth, what happens is that everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you think puts out an energy imprint. So when I get up and brush my teeth in the morning, I'm putting out an energy imprint. When I'm talking to my sister about something, I'm putting out an energy imprint. And basically that information gets recorded in the Akashic records. So what happened and what happens to humans is that they're constantly living their lives, having conversations, engaging in action, and what happens is they form impressions. They're forming impressions. The things that they do, say, and think not only are recorded in the Akash, they're recorded on the soul and heart of the person. And after each incarnation, those impressions, unless they are released, harden. So let's say, for instance, I had a lifetime 1,000 years ago, and I was in conflict with a soul who was my brother in that lifetime, and we just argued and argued and argued. It's not like the argument gets forgotten after you die, after you move on to the astral plane or celestial planes between lifetimes. Everything that you do, everything that you think, everything that you are builds up a record or an impression on the soul. Unless you work off that impression in that lifetime, you're going to have to work it off in another lifetime, and that is called karma. So what happens is the impressions that you engage in as a soul, lifetime after lifetime, become hardened. So if I am an argumentative person in this lifetime, I have a lot of conflict with certain people. Chances are that I have built that reservoir of conflict up during my past lives, and the impressions that I had being an argumentative and person that engages in conflict gets recorded on my soul, and it stays with me until it's worked off. So the impressions that you experience in any lifetime stay with you. They harden, they become habits, they become tendencies, they become attributes, let's say, of your soul, and they cover your soul. Those actions, let's say I was a very argumentative person 100 lifetimes ago, those actions, that's not me, that's not my soul, but the impressions build up, they harden, and they cover my soul. They cover my soul. So essentially, if you strip down everybody to the bare base, to the bare minimum, if you could uncover all of their karma, you could just take it away like that. You could remove every type of samskara, which is nothing but a hardened impression. You could remove every tiny little impression that every soul has ever experienced. That is when you would see who the soul really is. The soul is God consciousness, pure love. Actually, light isn't even the highest dimension. There's dimensions beyond light, okay? Light was produced, sound was produced, light was produced after God consciousness already existed. So it's not even pure light that you would get to when you uncover all the samskaras, which just means hardened impressions that a soul has. What is at the very base of every living being is God consciousness. So the reason why people engage in a meditation practice, a lot of people, or many people, go into a meditation practice because they're unhappy. I feel alienated from society. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm grief-stricken. I'm poverty-stricken. I'm resentful. Whatever it is, they want to heal themselves, so they start a meditation practice. But really, the true goal of any meditation practice is to remove and release the karma, the hardened impressions or samskaras that you have built up over lifetimes that are covering your soul. They're covering your soul. And most people have so many impressions covering their soul. They're just really weighed down by it, and they don't have any idea. And they get caught in a reincarnational loop. It's like, okay, I argued with this soul that was my brother 100 years ago. So, after I die, during that lifetime, I'm going to have to decide, when am I going to work off the karma? When am I going to, try and work things out with this soul so that I can progress forward? So souls ultimately get stuck in the reincarnational cycle on Earth, constantly trying to pay back the karma that they've accrued. Debits equals credits. Nothing escapes the eyes of God, or, the energy of God, or however you want to look at it. And whatever you do ultimately comes back to you. The only exception to that rule is when a master or an enlightened one, like the Buddha or Christ, take on your karma for you, which is what happened when Christ was crucified on the cross. He basically took on a lot of the karma for human beings to produce a way for them to get out of this reincarnational cycle so that they could really start progressing more and more towards enlightenment and God consciousness. So how do we get out of this cycle? We just keep coming back, we keep coming back to work out these relationships, to pay off our debits, to accrue credits. The issue and the problem is that as you pay off, let's say I finally, get it, and I make amends, and I heal the relationship with this soul that was a brother in 100 years ago. The problem is that as you're working off these situations and the karma with certain souls, you're accruing new karma with other souls. And so you just get locked into this reincarnational cycle, and you just keep coming back to earth just to pay off your debt, just to deal with the souls that you've dealt with over many hundreds of lifetimes. And so you kind of get caught in this cycle. So how do we get out of it? That's a good question. How do we get out of it? The reality is that most souls are just covered with sanskaras and karmas. In fact, when a master sometimes works on different people's souls, sometimes they can't even penetrate into the essence of who that person is because the coverings around the soul are so thick. So to release your karma, to release all of those hardened impressions and those sanskaras, what you actually need to do is to honestly get into a meditation practice with an enlightened master who will help you release the karma. Now, why do you have to be with a master? Why can't you just do it on your own? You can meditate on your own and you will make progress. It is, anytime you put your attention and focus on something that is positive, you're going to move in that direction. The reason why it is helpful to meditate with an enlightened master to release the sanskaras is because the master's enlightened. They're already at the highest state of consciousness possible for a human being. And also I want to say that a master's state of consciousness is never static or stagnant. They might be enlightened, but it's not the end game. They can still progress and move into infinity, even through the enlightened state. They're constantly moving forward and expanding their consciousness. So nothing ever stays stagnant, but the master is at this very high level of consciousness, and the master will have the ability to help you remove the stuck samskaras from your soul. It is very difficult sometimes for a human being to release their own samskaras because they need that power. And the power comes from the enlightened ones. They actually can go into your history. They can see your soul history, and they can start removing the samskaras bit by bit, so that your soul can rise, so that your soul can ascend, and so that you can reach higher states of consciousness. And this is a form of grace. This is grace. So, for instance, the only way really to evolve yourself is through a meditation practice. Because when you meditate, you're focusing on the true essence of who you are, which is that divinity within yourself, which is the soul. So you're focusing on your God consciousness, the God aspect of yourself. And that's why it's a great boon, great benefit to have a human life, because let's face it, a polar bear is not going to be able to meditate to release the sanskaras to enlighten themselves. So you must be in human form to even have the opportunity to enlighten yourself. So I want to say hi, Lupe. Hi, Gary. Does that make sense? So the best thing that anyone can do for themselves to evolve themselves in a human lifetime is to meditate with an enlightened master who has the ability to pull out your sanskaras and to give you that boost and that energy to move you upward. And that is called grace. And I've been practicing heartfulness for 25 years. And I think it is the best meditation practice out there because the masters are the highest level masters out there. They have the highest attainment. They're masters of caliber. Now, does that mean that everybody should meditate with heartfulness? Ideally, it would be a good practice for all. It would save a lot of time and it would save a lot of frustration. But karmically, people are going to be drawn to different groups, different gurus, different masters because of their karmic situation. So if you have karma with an enlightened master and you've meditated with this being for 7 lifetimes, you're going to get pulled in that direction. But if you really want to save time and energy and aggravation, you will be in a meditation practice with an enlightened guru who can remove the sanskaras from your soul, who can start giving you the room to breathe and to ascend yourself higher and higher into the state of enlightenment. The other thing that I want to mention about heartfulness is that it is completely free. So that tells you right there that it's legit, because if they were charging money, you may or may not know, hey, is this really a legitimate practice? But they're not getting any financial gain from the meditators that meditate with them. And the Adi Guru, or not the Adi Guru, but the guru that really spread this practice across the world, made it free to make it accessible to most souls. And essentially, it is supported by a number of wealthy meditators in that practice who support the practice, the marketing of the practice, support the ashrams, all of that, so that it becomes accessible for people. So you will come back over and over and over and over again to deal with your sanskaras, to deal with your impressions, to deal with your karma, until your soul finally says, I can't take this anymore. I got to figure out a way to get back to my true self, which is my God self. Another thing that I want to mention is that when people start to meditate, many times they're like, oh, I'm going to meditate. This is going to bring happiness. This is going to bring bliss. This is going to bring love into my life. And ultimately that's true, because it's going to raise your vibration so that you're in tune or simpatico with the higher states of consciousness, which are characterized by bliss, by love, all of those things. But when you start a meditation practice, if you have karma here, and most people do, not everyone has karma here. Some people are incarnating here for the first time, especially the young souls, the star seeds. But most people that are here have been here many, many lifetimes. And they have accumulated so much stuff. When they actually start a meditation practice with a master of caliber, they undergo, it's called Bogue, or Bog, I think it is. But you go on, essentially you go on the fast track. And the master starts pulling out the impressions, pulling out the negativity, pulling out the karma. And you undergo the process of releasing. And sometimes that is a very difficult process. Think about it. You're releasing karma from 100 lifetimes, a lot of it negative. There's been pervasive negativity on this planet for thousands of years. It is not a pleasant experience at first. It can be very difficult. And the higher you are in your consciousness, for instance, if you are a master or a close disciple to an enlightened one, you might have decided before you even incarnated here, hey, I'm going to go into the state of enlightenment. I'm going to meditate with my guru, who I've meditated with 3 lifetimes before. But I've also decided to help human beings. I want to raise the collective consciousness of society. So they actually, the high-level masters and the gurus and such, they will take on the collective karma of human consciousness. I have met people in my life. I have met people that were, I met this one gentleman who I read him, or I didn't read him consciously, but I knew who he was. Like I knew who he was in his past lives, and he was a very high level soul master, attained mastery, definitely. Very evolved soul. However, when I met him in this lifetime, he was a sexual predator. How does that even make sense? It makes sense because this great master decided that he was going to take on the issue of sexual predation and called it into himself and lived a life of torment, releasing that energy from his psyche to help humanity. I met another highly attained soul, highly, like history book soul, master, total narcissist, covert narcissist, sex addict, okay? Now, why would such a highly evolved soul come in as a total narcissist? Because that soul has taken on the ills of humanity, negativity, to work it out through his own body so that he can attain a higher state of consciousness, because he is literally healing humanity as he does this. If a master, or, you know, a master, their consciousness is wide and it's also deep. So when they take on something like this and they're able to conquer it, able to transmute the energy and transcend, it helps so many people. They might not know that, but that's what happens. It helps so many people because their consciousness is so wide. So you will see literally many people, many masters, many people meditating that have serious afflictions, serious. And it might be their own personal karma, or it might be that they've decided to take it on for the good of humanity. And that's another reason why we cannot judge anything, because we don't know. We don't know if they took this on for humanity or if it was in their own personal history. And we don't know the torment that they're going through, you know. And so that's another reason why we can't judge any situation. Although it is a very it's a very human inclination to want to judge situations, okay? And when you find yourself judging, just, you know, give it up to God, give it up to your guru, give it up to Krishna, whoever you work with, and have them take it so that you can come back to that state of non-judgment. Another thing that I want to mention is a story. There was this meditator in India. This is a long time ago. This is a famous story, but essentially he was meditating, and he was a really gifted yogi, a strong yogi, and basically he was meditating hours and hours a day, and he went into the state of bliss. So he went into this meditative state, and, you know, his consciousness was removed from the physical body, the physical temple, which can happen. And he went into his higher body, and he was just in bliss. He was smelling the beautiful flowers in the dimensions in which he was visiting. It was love, it was bliss, it was happiness, it was wonder, it was excitement, okay? And so he was out there, and he left. He didn't come back. In fact, he was alive, you know, but he had a very low breathing rate. His eyes were closed. It was like he was a statue. But the village people knew that he was alive. He was gone for so long that the ants started eating his body. And the villagers felt even ants eating his body did not bring the soul back into his body. He was just off into the life of wonder, beautiful experiences on the high astral or wherever he was. So the villagers put a huge pile of sugar right by this guru, by this meditator, so that the ants would eat the sugar and not eat this gentleman's body. And this gentleman needed a guru. Why did he need a guru? Because guess what? He got lost on these high states, high planes of consciousness, but he did not reach the state of enlightenment. He was still mid-range, and he was just diverted, and he was consumed with the beauty. Now, there was no incentive for him to come back into his body and continue his mission or his journey upwards. And so that is the job of a master. That is a job of a guru, to keep you on track, to pull you back in and say, okay, enough of that. You need to go upwards. So the spiritual journey is full of deception. It's full of pathways, circuitous routes that can take you off your narrow, straight path upwards to enlightenment. So it behooves people to have a guide that's already up there, already in that state of consciousness, to keep them on the straight and narrow, so they don't get lost. So they don't get lost for years. So they don't get lost for incarnations, many lifetimes. And the other thing is that when I say the spiritual life, the spiritual path can be extremely deceptive. You can fool yourself. You can fool yourself. You can figure out something or have an epiphany of thought. But really, if you're in a human body, I don't care if you're the greatest master ever, you are confined in this physical temple, and you are not going to have the vision. You're not going to have the perspective, okay, to see things 100% clearly. So you can delude yourself in your own spiritual practice, and so many people do. And it's very difficult to judge your own journey, your own growth. It's difficult to judge your own accomplishments. So the master will strip you sometimes of your spiritual gifts because they don't want you to get all involved and consumed with your spiritual gifts, because that will take you off the path of enlightenment. They will knock you down when you need to be knocked down, and they will lift you up when you need to be lifted up. So I'm a firm believer in people having a guru. I have one. It has helped me tremendously, and it doesn't mean that if you meditate on your own, it's not going to help you. But if you meditate with an enlightened master, it's going to help you so much more. And if you meditate with one that's living, it's going to help you even that much more than meditating with someone who is on the other side. Having a living guru who's really a real guru, like at the highest state of consciousness is a great, great gift. And it's really not given to everybody. But if you really want to make strides in this lifetime, that is what you'll be most likely be called to do. You'll be called to do that. And if anyone's interested in meditation, heartfulness is an amazing practice. It works. It's very simple. It's very refined. They have the meditation practice where you're bringing in divine light. It's coming in from the guru. And then they have the other aspect of the practice, which is cleansing. There's a cleansing component to this practice. So you're meditating every morning, bringing in more light, raising your vibration. And then every evening, you're cleansing yourself of all the junk that you pick up during the day from other people. And then they have deep cleanses where the guru goes in and just through preceptors, through people that are trained or approved to carry his energy, they go very deeply into your soul and they release the hardened sanskaras that you can't release yourself. So if you really, really want to make progress in this lifetime, you will find a meditation practice like that. And meditate, meditate, meditate. That's how you evolve yourself. So life is, the purpose of life, it's really not about ego-centric things like becoming a big wig. the purpose of life is not about attaining egocentric, becoming the best at something. I'm the best surgeon that ever existed, or I'm an inventor and I brought this into the world. Those are nice things to accomplish, but really the point of a human life is to escape the reincarnational cycle here, to liberate your soul, which is a point lower than the point of self-realization. The point of liberation means that you are not required to come back into a human body. You're not locked into reincarnation. Most people are, because their samskaras pull them back to this reality. But the point of a human life is to become self-realized. But a point in between self-realization and the typical human consciousness would be liberation. And that means that you don't have to come back here anymore. That you can continue, unless you choose to, but that you can continue your spiritual quest on the higher planes of consciousness. So the point of a human life, it's not to have children. Actually, having children will either be working off the karma that you experienced lifetimes ago, or you'll be accumulating new karma. It's not to have a great career, or have a happy life, or to experience luxury, or to be rich, or whatever, whatever people's goals are, whatever their short-term goals are. That's not really the long-term goal of a human life. The long-term goal of a human life is to become enlightened, to become self-realized, to become one with all that is, to become one with God consciousness. And the best way to do that is through the only way to do that is through meditation. Okay, you're not going to get there by going to church. And the best way to meditate is with an enlightened master. There's just no way around that. There's just no way around that. So that's what I really wanted to say, because I never really talked about meditation or sanskaras, or Bhog, which is when you work off your sanskaras, or reincarnation, or the role of a master, or any of that. But really, I think if this information, more people were interested in this information, they would be further along in their spiritual evolution. Your soul will always call you to higher states of consciousness. Your soul will always want to go towards enlightenment, right? But our egos, when we come down, we forget everything. The veils are thick, and our ego is there, and that is what drives us towards earthly pleasures and earthly attainments. But that's not really the true goal of life. Let's see what else I wanted to say. The other thing that I wanted to say is that, a lot of what's happening, first of all, I'll just say I have a lot of experience cruising the astral planes. So I've seen some really beautiful things, and I have seen some really horrific things in spirit. Okay, so I've seen both sides of the illusion here. But I will say this, luckily I have been shown and taught things by my gurus and the beings of spirit. And a lot of the things that are going on here on Earth, on the Earth plane right now, we all know that the masters say, the gurus say, this is all an illusion. Well, that's true. But I will tell you this, that there is a dark agenda here, a very dark agenda here, that the soul of Lucifer is a true being. I have dealt with that soul. It's not a fantasy. And that many of the people in power here, meaning your Hollywood celebrities, your politicians, your billionaire financial bigwig investors, your media conglomerates, the owners of the media conglomerates, the big TV stars espousing light, they're satanic, all right? They're Satanists. And I know this for a fact. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't need to go there with you. I'm just putting this out there for you to consider. If someone, that entity has been controlling this reality for thousands and thousands of years. This is his domain. And if you really want to make it big time in this world, that's who you answer to. That is your guru. It's a club. It's a country club. And you have to be in the club to make it to those high levels of success. You're not going to be an international TV star unless you're in the occult and unless you're a Satanist, period. And I don't care what their topic is. I don't care what they're talking about. I'm trying to show you how it works here. So a lot of these people that many look up to, big TV stars, big movie stars, big time politicians, people always talking about light, always working in charities, raising money for the poor, doing good works. We live in an incredibly deceptive, lie-filled world. Lie-filled. I mean, as I learned more and more about how this reality works over the last 25 years, I can tell you that we live in a sea of lies, okay? And that many in power who talk about, you know, furthering the human condition, providing food, water, you know, energy, whatever it is, help for everyone, that is not their agenda. And actually, many times they're mind possessed, and they seem so legit because they're acting. They're possessed. They're totally possessed, and they look totally for real. Okay, and I'm talking about my own experience here. I've seen this stuff. This is not something I read on the internet. This is not something that, you know, they talk about conspiracy theorists and all that. Well, I have done some research on the internet, and it kind of confirms what I've already experienced for myself on the astral plane. But I want you to start looking at the world and all of these events that are going on in the world, the wars, you know, the invasions of other countries, the bombs that go off, the suicide bombers, all of this destruction, all of this dissension, all of this negativity that's implanted into this world. It's a stage show. It's a show. It is not real. It has been planned, orchestrated, and acted out by people who are possessed under MK Ultra or in the occult. Now, a lot of people talk about false flags and things of this nature. I'm here to tell you that those things are very real. 911 was a false flag, and it was orchestrated by people in the highest levels of government. Okay? So that's another thing. Don't let yourself get all twisted and all upset and all reactive to the stage show that's going on, that's purported by the media, because it's not real and it's not true. And sometimes these things are total lies, and the events that you're seeing are acted out. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, because sometimes they're not acted out. Usually what happens is the initial event is acted out, and then what happens is the other events that follow in reaction to the initial event are people just reacting to negativity. So, for instance, I think it was the invasion of Kuwait. That was a false flag. I mean, American soldiers went in and lit those fires and set all those refineries on fire. And this has even been talked about by the American soldiers that went over and did that. But then the reaction to that, which was warfare, that was a very real thing. So there are constantly things that happen in our reality that are put in our reality by the negative forces in order to cause dissension, fighting, terror, fear. You know, There's nothing more that the dark wants than for citizens to be at each other's throats. That's their goal. And they will put as much in the media and create as many false events as possible to make that happen. And it looks very real. And if I did not have access to the other dimensions and I didn't understand about the occult, you know, I've been immersed in that. I've seen a lot of, you know, darkness on the astral planes, and I've dealt with dark entities, and I know what they're all about. They're deceptive, they lie, they cheat, they steal, but they talk light. They're the most deceptive. They're the most charming, okay? So my point is, don't focus on the outside world. The outside world, for the most part, consider it a stage show. The focus should be on your own inner light and your own spiritual evolution, on gaining self-realization. And I think I mentioned last week, or Mother Mary did, you know, this guru said to his disciple, let the world go up in flames. You do your meditation. And I concur, because honestly, people are getting lied to. They're getting manipulated and they're getting controlled constantly, day in and day out. And that has happened since the day you've been born. And there's all kinds of programming in this reality to make it so. Even when you look at a corporate logo, a lot of times that is some type of magical symbol. And it is a program that goes into your brain and gives you a message that's very subliminal. Yes, corporate logos. And so as these dark entities come into our reality, they bring in organizations, philosophy, and action that talks about improving humanity. They talk about bringing in light, but the reality is they're doing the exact opposite. So do not let yourself be fooled whatsoever. And the higher you go in your consciousness, the more that you'll understand how this world, this reality, is just a sea of lies. Sea of lies. And I won't go into all of it, because you know what? If I talked about everything that I knew, people's head would be too much for them. Like, they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it. They can't handle the fact that the people that they look up to are pedophiles, and that is true. But it goes way beyond that even. But I'm not going to get into it, because you have to be ready to digest this information. And if you're meant to understand how it works here and all the stuff that's going on, it will come to you. Suffice to say that ignore the stage show and focus on your own inner light and your own inner evolution. So that's what I wanted to say. And, you know, we are ascending. We're going into a higher state of consciousness. We're going into a higher dimension. The window of opportunity to really make tremendous progress in your soul's spiritual attainment, it's huge. Like, this window of opportunity now, because of the shift of the ages, because of the ascension, there's just a huge opening, a huge window here right now to really, really, really get somewhere on a soul level. Something that hasn't come around for like 10,000 years. So this is the lifetime actually to focus on your spiritual evolution. Spend the time in meditation, because you'll get a lot further, a lot faster now than just about any other time in history. And this is what my guru has told me. I believe that, because things are shifting so rapidly here. But it's just a huge opportunity to evolve yourself right now. So take advantage. So anyhow, I hope that wasn't... and if anyone's interested in knowing about how the dark operates in this world, you can send me an email or hit me up. But suffice to say that it is really very twisted. And the twisted ones are the ones on the media, in your face, telling you what to do, talking about how great they are, and giving you plans of how to have a happy and fruitful life. It's just bogus, okay? You need to find a guru or one that you can align to. If you can't find one here in this world, then align yourself with the Buddha, Krishna, Christ, you know, the true ones. Focus on their energy and their light. Don't focus on the people out here, because that's a waste of time. Okay, so now I actually could use a cleanse. I picked up some attachments. So I would like to call in the Arcturians to release some attachments for us today. So if you will, please get a piece of selenite, which is the conduit between this reality and the celestial realms. It helps the guides come through into this reality, and it helps them work on our bodies to release anything that's hampering us or causing us pain, causing us any type of depression, any type of anxiety. So the Arcturians, just so you know a little bit about the Arcturians, I've been working with them for about 6 or 7 years. Actually, maybe longer, I don't know. But when I've seen them on occasion, and they look like tall, skinny, blue beings. They have huge craniums, the ones that I've seen. And they are here to help human beings ascend. They are essentially midwives during our ascension process on Earth. They help to release negative entities such as reptilians from our spiritual bodies. And the Arcturians are considered the highest race of beings in our galaxy. So they're very, very evolved, but their specialty is healing. I've also seen some Arcturians that look like little blue Smurfs. So it's not like there's just one type of Arcturian. I'm sure there's several, but I've seen 2 types. But I'm going to call them in so that they can help us release anything that's bringing us down, causing us pain, weighing heavily on our soul, any of that. And I'm going to channel them. So if you would, get your piece of selenite and hold it. And take a deep breath. In and out. And just relax. Okay. So at this time, I would like to call in my highest and best healing and cleansing guides. And I would like to call in the highest and best healing and cleansing guides of everyone listening to this channeling and anyone that would listen to it later on. I call in the archangels, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Ariel, Archangel Gabriel, I also call in 10,000 warrior protection angels around anyone listening to this channeling. I ask that these angels block all negative entities, energies, or thought forms, and if anything's released by anyone here, that these angels take it to source and transmute it into light. I'd like to call in healing Arcturians that will help release any negativity in our body, and I ask them to come in. And lastly, I would like the Lemurian Mother Goddess to oversee and overlight this cleanse. Amen. And now the Arcturians come in. Yes, this is a group of Arcturians, and we are here today to assist you in raising your vibration and also to remove any type of negative attachments safely and easily from your astral bodies. So at this time, we ask that you put your attention on your solar plexus and put your focus on this chakra. And we come into your heart chakra through your crown as we are going to work with you internally. You each have specific Arcturians assigned to you, and they will be assisting you in this cleanse individually. So at this time, we ask that the Arcturians assigned to you go inside your solar plexus, and we ask that the Arcturians release any type of entity, attachment, any type of thought form, any type of old energy, grief, resentment, or anger that is blocking you from your course or your pathway to enlightenment. We go in now. And just breathe out anything that is coming up for you and let the Arcturians take it away. We are opening your solar plexus and we are releasing attachments. We ask that you breathe them out. And now we, the Arcturians, go inside your heart chakra. And at this time, we are assisting you in releasing any blocks around your heart, in your heart, any type of wall or blockage that is preventing you from connecting to and realizing the highest parts of yourself. So we go inside your heart and we cleanse it. You may feel some things being pulled out the back of your heart. Just breathe them out and release. We are still working on the solar plexus as well. And we are working on the pathway between these two chakras. And now the Arcturians go inside your thymus, the chakra between your heart and your throat. We go inside the thymus and we cleanse and we release any energies that are causing this gland not to work properly. We are working on releasing reptilian energy, parasitic energy, insectoid energy. We are working on releasing any types of programming, any type of reptilian programming, any type of eggs from the reptilians, any type of homing devices from the reptilians. We are working on releasing any negative elementals and any ghosts or discarnates in your thymus, in your heart, and in your solar plexus. Breathe out anything that no longer serves you. Breathe out anything that is not a benefit to your soul's evolution. Lastly, we go inside your throat chakra. We remove anything that blocks or hinders you expressing your truth, your soul's truth, not your ego's purported truth, but your soul's truth. We remove any blocks around the throat, preventing you from speaking your truth. And now we go inside the remaining major chakras and all of your sub-chakras in your physical body. And we focus on releasing anything that can safely and easily be taken out of your etheric body, your subtle body. Anything that's causing you pain, anything that's causing you confusion, anything that's causing you grief. We ask that you release it now through the breath. Very good. And now we are going to bring in the green-hearted healers, who are ETs that specialize in taking your current frequency and lifting your whole body, meaning your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual body, into a higher frame, a higher wavelength. And so now they come in and they will take it from here. Yes, this is the Green-Hearted Healers, and we are here today to help you raise your vibration. So we ask that you just relax, go ahead and wiggle your body, wiggle your feet, wiggle your toes. Just loosen up and relax. And now we are going to shift you. We are going to take you to a place and a time where you will not have been impacted by the impressions that you just released. And if this does not make sense, it's okay. We're just going to take you to a higher place, and we're going to breathe new life into your physical body. So take your energy, take your body, imagine that you're a sphere of light and that you're going from here to there. You're here and now you're there. And yes, we are working with you. We are raising your frequency. We are bringing in light. We are bringing in love. We are bringing in forgiveness. And we are bringing in new opportunities as we have taken your body from here to there. And you are currently in a new frequency, a new dimension. And you are receiving energies of healing and energies of truth. Receive our light, receive our healing, receive the direction that will help you on your journey on Terra Nova. We are going into all of the chakras where you have released past impressions, and we are putting in high light, high healing energy, and love. And now we put a special circle or halo around your head. You can see it as a circle of green light. This will connect you to our energy. So anytime that you are feeling down, lonely, confused, angry, upset, anytime that you are feeling repressed, oppressed, anytime you're feeling any type of negativity, we ask that you reference this halo above your heads, which has our energy. Invoke us, the Green-Hearted Healers, and we will work with you in real time to release these feelings. And we place this here, and it will remain with you as long as you want it in your field. It is completely up to you. And so now we finish our cleanse. We surround you in high healing light, and we protect you. We place protection around this new frequency and this new vibration. We place protection around your aura. And so we say to you, go in light, go in love, and be happy, as this is your destiny. And we are here, present today, to help you fulfill your destiny. Sending all our love. Namaste. And now the channel comes back. So hi, this is Donna Carroll, and I just want to say thank you for being here today. Appreciate you. Thank you. And I wish you the best. Stay strong, stay true. Don't let yourself go crazy. You know, listening to what's going on out there or listening to other people. These are very, very tumultuous times. So much karma is being released, not just people releasing karma individually, but collectively. So don't let yourself get triggered. If you do get triggered, use the ETs, use the angels to help you so that you can get centered, balanced, and aligned again. It happens to all of us. Anyhow, wish you the best. Take good care. Oh, yes. If you start heartfulness, Marie, you will benefit so much. Anyone that wants a meditation practice, I strongly recommend heartfulness. I've done it 25 years. Highest level gurus on the face of the earth. And it's free. So there's really no blocks to doing this practice. Anyhow, I wish you guys well. Have a great week. Love you all. And I don't know. I just want to say enjoy summer and enjoy the warm weather. Take care. Bye-bye.